You are listening to Key to the Bridge, brought to you by your friends at Keystone Therapy and Training Services, where we will be sharing human stories, talking about community resources, mental health, and wellness. This is a podcast for everyone. Welcome. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Key to the Bridge. Today, I get to have one of my colleagues, but also somebody I love a whole bunch, here with us today. And we're gonna talk about all the things. We're going to see what journey we go on together. What's going to happen. Yeah. So, this might not be the podcast to listen to with small children around. We'll see what happens because we like to keep it real. So, yes, Ms. Karena, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Okay. And if you could tell us a little bit in a nutshell, like what you do here professionally at Keystone, and then a little bit about who you are in the world. And just, what you want to tell us to kick us off about.
Just the things.
Yeah, who you are.
Who is this?
Yeah, who are you?
Well, I'm Karena. We were just discussing the spelling of the name, which is Karena. But I also often like to add a second N so that it's pronounced Karena. Karena, yes. Yeah. And here at Keystone, I'm super happy to be working here.
I know it took a minute for us to make it happen, but it happened.
We kept looking at each other and being like, we're going to do this.
Yeah, that's okay. We had to break up with some other things and then get together.
Yes,
it was fine.
But it worked out. And now it's a glorious, happy day. So working here, I'm the clinical director and program director, and I provide supervision, which is, teaching new therapists. And that's a big part of the job, working on, figuring out what is it that people need in order to do this job that is intense, and how can they take care of themselves, and how can they have fun, and how can they be ethical.
Yeah, and stay in the job.
And then also, just helping with program support and growing things and having ideas about all our different projects that we have in mind, working with seniors more. I'm super excited about that. Bringing more music, more singing, more art, more joy into the world. And that is, I would say that's kind of like become like my mission in life or something, is just to let's have fun. Let's play. And so it's fun because it's like in my personal life, it's just how I am. But then I'm seeing how it actually is needed in the mental health profession considerably.
Oh, fun in mental health.
Fun and joy.
Concepts.
Yeah. In mental health.
I wonder. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's pretty revolutionary.
It is pretty revolutionary. And so, okay. And then just
other things.
Yeah, just a little whatever you want to start with.
Yeah, well, I grew up in San Francisco. I am a mama. I have a 10-year-old daughter. I'm married. I have a puppy dog.
Living that.
This is my domestic life.
Your domestic life.
I have not always been a super domestic person. When I grew up in San Francisco, when I was 11, 12, and that crazy time in life happened, I actually left home. I took my own faculties, control over the situation, and I left home, and I had 3 or 4 years of following the Grateful Dead, traveling across the country. Yes.
Sorry, I'm looking over here because, okay, I have so many questions. I'm just going to sit here and listen. You left home. You said 11 young. Or 12. I like this age.
It started at 11. Then by 12, I was leaving, going to dead shows and things. And then I went across the country and followed the Grateful Dead and just jumped on Grateful Dead tour until Jerry Garcia died. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy.
It sounds, wow. Okay. That's a sharp left that I was kind of expecting, but not really. But we're going to go with that. Okay. So when you say followed the band, who were you with when you were following?
Okay, so
because you couldn't drive.
Couldn't drive.
I mean, you could have. I mean, at that point, is anything off limits? Probably not. So you could have driven, but how did you?
I might have been able to drive. Yeah. I mean, I probably could have learned. Yeah. I did actually learn when I was about 14, 15 how to drive, but I wasn't very good at it. So there was this whole like community of people. The Deadheads were like a tribe that would just follow the band on tour. So they had nothing to do with the actual band. It was just like this entourage of hippies going everywhere around the country to every stadium and like taking over the parking lots and just creating like a village for the 3 days that the band would be there.
Okay.
Okay.
So you were traveling with the Deadheads. So you would build. I'm just have to say it back because it's processing.
I know.
So the Deadheads, a tribe. Love that description because that's what they are. I mean, I bet you they're still around. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
Still, yeah, like they're okay. So tribe. So they would go to wherever the show was going to be, 3-day festival, and you would build a community for the 3 days, and you all just lived there together. And then you were literally just like traveling to the next show.
And you would be on the road, and the routes that you would be traveling, you'd see people, you knew who they were. I'm sure people know what, you'd know who was, going, and we'd find each other at gas stations or Vista Points, or, you know what I mean? It was like this traveling just entourage of this whole like world of the family. And I was super young, and of all the things I could have ran away from home and gotten into, like that was pretty supportive, like pretty accepting kind of a community, just like love and peace and rainbows and stuff.
Wow.
For the most part.
For the most part.
So that was my life for a good chunk of those like early teen years. Like I was just a vagabond traveling around. And so I just, when you're asking me who I was, it just felt like an important thing to lead with.
I think that's a decent sized piece of information to keep.
Even though it's like a long time ago.
No, but
it feels just part of who I am. Yeah.
Wow. And when you were with the family, because that's what they called themselves.
Yeah, you were like the fam. Yeah.
You were the fam. So what did you contribute? Because I'm assuming you all had to be in a massive collective, right?
Totally.
Because you had food, shelter, all the things you all needed.
Yeah, and we would have to figure out ways of making money. There are lots of different ways you can make money on the Grateful Dead lot.
Yeah, there is a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. And I was pretty smart about that. I figured it out, and I learned how to make money to support myself and throw in for gas or a hotel room or whatever. But one of the ways initially was getting someone to go in, because I looked so young I couldn't buy alcohol, but to buy a case of Samuel Smith's oatmeal stout.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that beer?
Yes.
Okay. So specifically those, because I could resell each one for like $5, which at that time that was a lot. Yeah. So that's how I would turn over a couple cases of beer.
Every show.
Almost every show, yeah. But then I figured out other ways you can make a lot more money.
Yeah, there are other ways. There are other ways that are more lucrative.
You can make, pretty good amount.
You can make a pretty good amount.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty solidly.
You got to do it. Okay, so you were gone for like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I would say there was about a 3-4 years of pretty much gone. I mean, I would come back. My heart breaks now that I'm a mom, just thinking about it. But, I'd come back and disappear, And then eventually when Jerry Garcia died, things definitely changed. And so I was just more of like a crusty vagabond for a while until I figured out that I wanted to go to school for something.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was like 3 or 4 years, pretty solid.
And your family was still in San Francisco?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And you just stop by and then you'd head out?
Yeah, I'd stop by, or I'd be forced home by the law enforcement. Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody might have like checked on you and been like, "Hey."
They were like, I'd look at them and they'd pull us over, or they'd see me somewhere, or whatever would happen. The police would be like, "So how old are you?" And I'd be like, 18, with a mouthful of braces.
Oh my God.
They were like, "No, you're not. Get in the car."
Oh my God.
I know.
But I mean, I'm just thinking when you just said you had a mouthful of braces. So you were somewhere, obviously, like somebody, you were like getting your.
I did. And then anyway, I had my braces.
No, I just think about all the stages.
Whole story.
No, it is. But I just think about you were obviously like popping in and out of different places of getting things taken care of. But when you could, you hit the road.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that explains a lot.
It was a pretty solid,
And why you love performing.
Well, yes. And the performing, that stuff started when I was really little, just like all about the music and dancing. And I was just always that kid. Like I always wanted to
Perform.
You know? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just on the stage, musical theater, singing, dancing, all the things.
Okay, so how did you become a therapist? I'm going to be real. Like, after that story, this job sounds
I know.
significantly less interesting than that. I mean, I love our job, but when you describe it in comparison to following around the Grateful Dead, it seems a couple a little lower on the intensity scale.
It's interesting because I was like incredibly anti-establishment. Like I was incredibly like, there was no way if I could go back in time to the 14-year-old me and be like, you're going to be a therapist someday with a license. And like, there'd be no way, you know?
Right.
But it was just, I think it was a long road of, like I said, I kind of wanted to go back to school, and it would be trying to get this, I would try to go do stuff, and then I just couldn't handle, quote unquote, the real world because what I was used to. So I would come and I would, you know, like finished high school, and then I'd have, you know, I'd panic and leave or whatever would happen. Anyway, and eventually my mom actually told me, she was like, you have to be, if you want to live here, you have to be in college and you have to go to therapy. And normally before that I would have been like, whatever, I'm out. But for whatever reason, when I was about 19, that just like hit, and I was like, all right, fine. So it's sort of like a cliche story, but eventually I did find, like, I hated all the therapists I ever saw.
Yep.
There were probably like 4 or 5. It was really not a good experience. And then I finally met this one woman, and she really did help me like figure out my life and change things. Is my earring popping?
No, you're good.
Okay.
So you found the one.
So that was the one.
You found the one.
Yep. And so it's a long meandering road though, because even still then I was like more into environmental, like I did environmental studies. And then I was teaching, and basically I would really feel for the kids that like needed more than just what I was teaching. And that was where like my heart really felt, you know?
Yeah.
And so
what grades were you teaching?
They were like elementary school, middle school kind of age. Yeah.
Yeah. The age right before you decided to hit the road.
Totally.
So you were like, oh, I see you.
Yep.
I see you.
Yep.
And then you're like, okay, I need the pieces of paper so that they'll let me.
I want to learn more about how do I help the kiddos. You know, it was really like about the kids and the teens, you know. How do I find a way, like with my own journey, to support them so they don't have to have that same experience in the world or something like that.
But Karena, what you're saying is really important, because I think there is this piece about healthcare in general, but mental health care and like human service provider folks that you and I have been in a lot of school. Yeah. And when you sit in classrooms to get the degrees that we've earned, there's a lot of people with a lot of amazing stories.
Right.
You know, about how they got to where they are.
Yes.
And then you describe it as I like the air quotes, the establishment, but the systems of the care that we are all in.
Right.
Right. It's very rare to me to meet somebody who's in our line of work who, I don't care how much money you had or if you had no money, but there's some reason why you decided to start slowly hiking up the state level licensing journey to have the power, because you have a lot of power, like once you're licensed, to be able to, because the system says like officially provide clinical, that word, mental health care and like what that looks like. And I feel like one of the reasons you and I had our like professional and personal like love at first sight moment is because of that feeling of I went through that process, yes, to learn the system, but also so that we could get in it and be like, what?
Come on. It doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah. Do we have maybe some different ways that we could think about this? Yeah. I think our professors are lucky you and I didn't have a class together, because we probably would have probably been asked to at least not sit next to each other, because it would have been a lot. But I think there's that piece around the fun part. And we also talk about performing.
Right.
We also share that part of our little selves, right? And like how we were maneuvering through the world and trying to figure things out, right? The stage, and that doesn't actually have to be a stage.
No,
it can just be a kitchen.
It can be a kitchen.
It can be a kitchen.
And it often is a kitchen.
I know, because I mean, if you're gonna eat or make food, you need music and like whatever. But like that idea of how do you get it out of, how do you express it?
Right.
Like how do you do
Right.
it? And I think that part too. I mean, if we had been friends, I probably would have been the friend who would have first like maybe like said, "Hey," to your mom.
Yeah.
Do you know your daughter's going to go with the Grateful Dead? And then I probably would have been the friend who went when you were nearby and like stopped by and like hung out. So I'm not quite as brave as you. Like, you have to be very brave to do what you did.
It's pretty wild when I think about it.
Very brave.
Yeah.
And the amount you had to trust yourself. I'm just thinking about the level of confidence.
I know. I don't know. It's bizarre in a way. It feels like a movie, but it was like, I see it as a strength.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. I'm going to go here.
Because this is
way more fun.
Way more fun. Oh my God.
And makes a lot more sense than what you're telling me to do there in 7th grade. Like,
yeah,
no
I mean,
thanks.
it's making world history in 7th grade like seem not like the best time.
Right. Yep.
I mean, wow. Okay.
Yep.
So my next question, because I had a question earlier and then
we went off on this whole.
Well, I guess I was just thinking about how you have been talking about music.
Yeah.
And now I definitely understand why your heart is with music and you play instruments.
So my main instrument is my voice, but I play the baritone ukulele.
Okay.
And I started with a littler ukulele, and I'm currently working with the piano. I play the piano, but I'm learning more. So yeah,
you're learning
those
more.
are my, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And have you been singing like forever?
No. So I sang a lot as a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, it's like all kids
best.
do. Yeah, and it's the best. And then over the Grateful Dead time, I sang a lot. I was pretty comfortable in myself. But I think something happened in that transition that I was describing, kind of the late teens, early 20s, where I just got really insecure about being too much in the world. And those years were kind of like, even though I had my teenage like years out in this like wild situation, I kind of went through that insecurity thing a little older. So I remember it. Do you know what I mean?
You were supposed to like settle down.
Yeah.
And
then I was like, whoa, I'm way too much. So essentially there was a process of shutting down my creative voice as well as my own like personality voice, you know what I mean? And trying to like
be smaller.
And that changed. That actually, I mean, I'm not going to say I was totally small all those years. I mean, I've definitely been working through that, but just like 4 or 5 years, the pandemic was happening.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean I do remember. It's a lot of time with yourself.
And there's a lot of time with yourself. And so you know how like people, the whole sourdough thing, I don't know why the sourdough thing was such a big thing.
Because to do a starter and bake bread takes time. And people had the time.
They had time, exactly. So there's all these things that people had time to do. And the one thing I had time to do was to pick up this little ukulele I had and start like plucking away. And I was like, I'm just going to learn these songs and work on my voice. And anyway, I was terrified though to share it with anybody.
Wow. No performing. You were just doing it.
I couldn't sing in front of anybody yet, like even 4 or 5 years ago, unless it was like a jokey song.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
If it was like a joke or we were all just like
messing around,
that was fine. But I was like quietly in my bedroom, like learning,
practicing.
and singing. And it was a ride because for whatever reason, I just had this like strong desire to really sing, but it was also terrifying. Like I just couldn't do it. Yeah. So this was the dilemma that I had, and I ended up working with somebody who's not a therapist at all, voice teacher, music teacher. Her name's Lauren Arrow. She's amazing.
Shout out, Lauren.
Shout out to Lauren Arrow. And she really, she wasn't just like a voice teacher to teach you the technique. She really like worked with me on what was I afraid of? You know, what was making me lock up if I imagine anybody seeing me. So in that process, I feel like I grew and learned so much. And now I'm out here just singing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
in front of all kinds of people. So
yeah,
the fear is gone.
The fear is
well, it's still there. I just don't. I'm not worried.
Well, you do what
I don't
you
let
do
it take
in
over.
spite of the fear.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think part of the fun part is if stuff's a little scary, it's usually more fun.
There's like exactly like that place where it's scary, but you're also excited.
Yeah, you're going to do
that
it.
feeling. Yeah.
It's really good.
That's the one.
Yeah, because I don't think, I mean, if you talk to people who've performed 1,000 times.
Yeah.
The 10 seconds before a curtain opens or before you walk to the mic or whatever, you have to be like, should I do this?
Yeah.
And then you do it anyway.
Yeah. Almost every single time I'm about to go on stage, there's this part of me that's like, why am I doing this? This is so overwhelming.
And then you get to the mic and you're like, too
and
late.
I'm like, yay!
I'm going to do it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
But yeah, so that was kind of a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, but Karena, I think what you're saying too is important because I think that's the space you and I are in a lot is this piece around, you know, you're talking about your amazing voice and like humanity supporter.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't just right. She wanted to know why it mattered to you.
Yeah.
And like that's the reason that you do it.
Yes.
And I think you and I get on some serious soapboxes about how folks can look for what is going to help them in their care.
Right.
You know, and that care is such another big four-letter word.
Yeah.
But this piece around like, what does that look like? And I think that when you and I are teaching too, we're also trying to bring that to the folks who are coming into the profession that, you're going to have a lot of amazing pieces of paper that you've worked really, really hard for. And we can't be the only thing people access.
No, exactly.
Like we can't be the only thing.
No. No. And it can't always just be in an office.
No.
You know?
No.
It's got to be, there's so many other things. There's so many other ways for us to feel, to do healing, to feel connection, to feel community, to feel, you know, not just sitting in a room talking about it. And
I think, you know, I do think the history too, though, of having experienced massive amounts of collective joy is unique. I'm learning now more and more that's not, as a kid, I felt like, well, doesn't everybody have, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't everybody have places where you go and you laugh and you have fun and you usually have some connection to art.
Right.
I wouldn't say that as a kid, but
now see that's what it was.
Every house I was in that cared for me, there was music.
There was music. Yep.
There was music. There were people creating things or talking about things, or, you know, my sisters and family and husband too would also talk about sports, right? Like this idea of like a craft.
Yeah.
That there were things that you did because they felt good.
And you're connected to other people that are in it with you.
And you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna do it. And now in particular, I feel like we're in a little bit, I feel like I sound like an old lady when I say it, but we're in like this weird generational spot where there's a lot of folks who, I'm making a massive generalization, but are like sort of under the age of 30-ish that have had less of that because of technology. Like that, if I were to like, and I don't mean to take us on a tangent, but I just think that you and I share this piece around like, I feel like, okay, my little baby who I love, Mariah, who you and I talk about often, she says when she describes what we do, she says that our job is to help people love themselves.
Where does she come from?
She's don't know.
Amazing.
She's 5.
That's
She's
it
5.
right there. Yeah.
She's 5 because I'm always having to explain, like when I say like, mommy's going to work, right? And I love going to work. I explain how much I love going to work because it's important for them to know that. And I say I'm teaching.
Yeah.
Right? Or I say I'm helping people figure out how to get help that they want or need and figuring that out. And when I've talked about those things, now she just collectively says, mommy's jobs are to help people love themselves.
Oh my God, I love that.
And I'm like, girl, I don't know. I need a shirt. Okay? Like that.
This is my job.
This is my job. This is my
I help
job.
people to love
I
themselves.
help people love
That is
themselves.
beautiful. That's
Okay?
so good.
She's 5,
That's
but she's 100 years old.
Yeah,
though. She's
she
an
gets it.
odd situation over there with her. But she's also
in a wonderful
in
way.
a wonderful
Yeah.
way in the sense of Mariah's
Yeah.
the one who I'm like, yeah, if she wanted to go follow the Deadheads, I wouldn't be able to stop her. She would just pack her stuff and she would go. So I'll write you a letter or whatever. I'll send you, it'll probably be technology. I'll send you a text.
Just let me know.
Yeah, just let me. I gotta go.
Support you through.
Right,
Yeah.
but I think there's this piece around
Yeah.
that collective experience that is unique.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Technology is what it is.
No, totally.
But I also think that there's no substitute for whether it's picking up your uke and like singing on a stage in front of live human beings. Mm-hmm. There's no substitute for that. Like there just isn't. And so if people are doing less of that, or haven't done much of it at all, I think sometimes you and I are explaining things to people. I'm noticing this lately where I'm trying to like make a connection or explain something, and they really don't know exactly what They're not sure.
Yeah,
they don't know.
They haven't experienced it.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's this whole thing of this idea that if you're a singer or a musician, that you have to make a lot of money at it. That's what you can't be an artist unless you make a lot of money at it. Does that that's how people think about it, rather than like we are all creative and artistic. We are all singers. We are all, come on, people have been everywhere. Every single person, your roots go back to singers, dancers, like it's in us. It's so important.
If I could have a fire pit every night where I was close to naked and singing and dancing around, that's
what we need. Okay, Erica.
Here for it.
That's what we need.
Because I know, and we, at our house, we call it dance party.
Yeah.
So
you just have like a free.
So like most of the time, and this is partly because of how I grew up, there's a reason why adults call it, when they talked about children in particular, they talk about like the witching hour, right, or whatever. But this piece that's usually like between when you eat and when you go to bed, right? And it's a real thing. Like our bodies are trying to transition to night.
Yep.
And it's your body's trying to like process like what you've done for the day, right? And what you usually want is some form of connection.
Yes.
Usually, some form. And everybody's a little different. You might be, you and I would be close to naked, dancing and singing around the fire. But in a community, right, there were also the people who were like quietly laying on mats, like in the tent, maybe, but you could hear, like you knew that your community was around you, or maybe you were reading, or maybe you were making something or whatever, but you had a way of like getting to rest. And rest might be sleep, but it also might be movement. Yeah. Whatever. So at our house, collectively, it's funny what happens. It usually starts with music. We take turns picking like the songs people pick, which is also that's a funny assessment of the day with what songs people pick. But that usually leads into some other form of people doing things that like feel good for themselves. But I had that modeled. I know now that like that was something I saw and I experienced and felt and knew was really important. And for my family, it's weird to think it was the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, later it became, so it was radio, albums, but it was predominantly the radio.
The radio, just putting on a radio station. Yeah, you see whatever song.
And the person talking on the radio. Yeah. And like what was going on or whatever. And then later, because technology was what you could more curate like what you wanted to listen to on a more regular basis. But yeah, I think that type of experience seems so simple. It's not like a highly complex piece. But to your point, you don't need to make money.
No, it's not. It's just about expression and connection. You don't
Yeah.
and it's okay to do it. And that's something that I see a lot, is that people are like, well, I'm not an artist. I'm not a singer. I'm not going to, I'm just not going to do it.
I'm not good at it.
Because I'm not good at it. But there's this whole, there's like, yes, of course, there's like professional, honing the craft or whatever. But just what you're talking about, what we're wanting to make more of in the world are spaces where people can feel comfortable just being creative
and
maybe, letting it out,
trying something.
That edge,
You know what I mean? Like
finding
that's
that
the
edge.
other part too, like that piece around, right? Sounds like an oxymoron, but like safe risk taking.
Yes.
Right. That
totally.
You need
safe risk taking. That's it.
Right. Like, so you're in your example, right? You started by singing in your bedroom, which meant probably whoever was in your house could hear you.
Or I would wait until they were out.
Yeah. But you had some safe risk taking and you would do that. And then it progressed. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
And I think we're also in a place, because of the good old C word of capitalism, that people think that if they like buy the right thing or try the right thing or do whatever, that everything's going to maybe be, you might be that good quickly. And it's not really about being good. It's about feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't just lean into that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, people don't like allow themselves to feel
so
good
I was thinking about we were getting ready for this because we had an experience. We were reminiscing about this experience where I was with my sisters in San Francisco, actually, and I Want to Dance with Somebody came on by Whitney Houston in the car, and it was a warm evening, and so we had the windows rolled down, and then we turned it up, right? And we were driving, I don't even know what street you drive by, but we were driving through the stoplights. So then what ended up happening is because we were jamming at every stoplight we got stopped at, everybody around us that was like standing on the corner or whatever else would like jump in, and then the pointing starts.
Oh yeah,
you're just pointing.
You're just pointing, and you don't even know each other, but you're like,
you're just pointing.
I see you. Yeah,
and those types of experiences, we do those things a lot because we have had the building of like risk taking in safe space. Like, what's the worst thing? That could happen. Like, what's the worst? But I do think, right, if we're going to use our academic lens for a moment, Miss Karena, right, this whole piece around like the anxious generation and like what we're doing to adults and young folks around all of the worries and I'm not saying the worries aren't real. Life is
and that's
super
the thing.
hard.
That's the thing, is that we need to be reverent, about the fact that things are hard and there are some dark times, and for sure, and let's make some room for the joy. Let's make some room for the connections.
I also think that depending on how you grew up and what you were exposed to, that it's not a joke. I think it's laughter. So you don't cry about it all the time, right? You cry about it sometimes, but if you grew up with family members or community, right, whatever that means to you, who experience stuff that like I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you were exposed to generations or people, right, that you were growing up with that had things happen to them that like I can't even, I don't even know what I would do if that's how
that
I was
was
living.
Your reality.
If that was how I was living.
And that was their reality.
I shouldn't say but. I should say and. A lot of those folks are some of my favorite human beings in the sense that they showed if they didn't have these other pockets of a like intense joy.
Right.
I mean, mainly around food and art.
Right.
And I would say forms of just like pleasure with people that they were in community with.
Yeah.
Like if they had like some form of like pleasurable community experience, that's how they like survived.
That was survival for sure. Yeah.
That's how they got through it. And they talk about it like that. They're like, no, if I didn't have this, there's no way I would have made it.
Well, like I think about your point of just like driving down the street and like listening to, that. Yeah, and that, by the way, side note, that song is just so good. Such a like, we all know it. I feel like especially like maybe our age group, it's just like when that song happens, like it is a great connector. Yeah. It is like... Yeah. Yes, it's a wonderful song. Anyway, but like, and you're looking at people, just random people you don't even know, but we see, it's like you can see into each other's eyes that like moment of like you know, and you feel it. They get it. you know, and you don't even know them. So I don't even really know what my point was with that, but I was just thinking about just finding the joy and the connection with whoever is there, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
and trying to make it, and it's human. It's like, it's human to human, you know?
I mean, do people still have
With
like
yeah.
camps? I mean, like you're talking about tribes of people that follow artists. Is that even like still a thing? I feel like an odd person
I don't
asking
know.
that question,
No,
but I really don't know
if
the
it's as
answer
much
to the
as-
question.
I don't know if there's anything that was
Well,
quite
I mean, now
like the
going to
Grateful Dead.
and now going to a festival costs
But-
like $1 million.
Yeah.
So
The closest thing I experienced to it was Burning Man. So I'm also a burner.
oh, okay,
But I did that. Surprise.
that tracks.
But that when I first started going, it was a lot different than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, thank you, social media.
thank you, Instagram.
Yeah.
But that experience also is, you know, it's expensive. It's like you're saying, it's like or festivals, they cost all this money. And I don't know if there's things like that. So that's what I'm trying to do, is like create that feeling of just like connection, community. Let's, you know, be together. Let's be present
Yeah.
in this world of just like, I don't know, things feel so divided.
Very. I do feel too right now our religious communities are taking kind of a hit in the branding of anything that has to
Yeah.
do with religion in a lot of different ways. But my family in South Carolina, right, they still go to church on Sundays. And when we visit there, we go. And the past three times I've been there, we've brought somebody who's never been before.
Yeah.
And that part, when I explain it to them, I'm like, no, you're going to go and you're going to have an experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it to them any other way. Just go with an open mind and you're going to have an experience.
Yeah.
Because the music
Yes.
is
Totally.
dripping from this is a Baptist, you know, a Southern
yeah.
Baptist church.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the full experience. And you're talking about a church that's over 100 years old. Mm-hmm. On near Dorchester Road
like
in Charleston, South Carolina. And my great grandmother is a founding member of the church, and so when we go, it's very specific. But I do think about those touch points that are like built into their week and their community. That's not right. Like I would have to pay.
I know.
To go to a show,
right.
To get that type of experience, right? And they are there.
It's just there
every Sunday, 10 a.m.
So much
and
music, singing.
It's longer. It's about 2 hours because you're there. And then afterwards, like there's the hanging out. So there's like a 3-hour process that you're committing to from 10 until 1.
Right.
And then you literally go home and you change your clothes and then you go somewhere else to like eat and hang out and continue the day. But we don't roll like that
I know.
here as much. And granted, I know people go to church here and I know there's music and I know those things exist in our hometown. But it's an interesting thing that it doesn't feel to me as like baked in to the culture here as it does whenever I'm visiting the South.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah,
no, that music and community and food is like in everything. It's just
everywhere,
do.
and you just do it, and it's just there.
And it's not complicated.
No.
Like it's just not. But we go, and the last time I was there, we took my children and my brother-in-law, and like you're just also kind of like crying or feeling very like emotional like during the whole thing. And then we get back to Mariah because she's 100 years old.
Yes.
So she just like gets in the aisle because she's like, I can't dance enough here in the pew area.
I need some more space so I can actually move my body and let this energy through.
And so there's literally like her and a lot of older adults like dancing and moving in the aisles. And I just think about like,
that's just like what you do. It's not, you didn't pay to go to a show to watch other people. It's just your community. You're just in it.
You're just in it.
You're just part of it.
you're just doing it. So what we're saying, Miss Karena, is you and I need to figure out how to have some way of expanding just more collective joy and fun.
Yes.
Like there's not a lot of that. And it's hard to find if it doesn't cost money. Like I
know it really is. Yeah. You can't just do that unless you're but I think finding a way where how do you come together, play some music, make some music.
Yep.
Have a big I think of it like a community sing and a community dance party. I think that's what we need.
A community sing and a community dance party.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely think our Sonoma County in particular, if I were just to hone in on us, we're going to need to start thinking about it in a very intentional way. Because I do feel like there was some more of that when I was younger. But now everything is so organized and commodified that it's hard.
Right.
We were just even joking yesterday about going to the movies.
Yeah.
Right? Like Tightwad Tuesday. When you could go see 2 movies for $5
for $5
because they were $2.50, right? Or sometimes 3 movies if you had $10 because you could also with $10 see 3 movies and probably get popcorn and some soda. And like last time I went to the movies, it cost the 6 of us $130 to go to the movies for even with like everybody's movie tickets. And then snacks, right? Like popcorn, whatever, like concessions. $130. Which it is just like that's a movie. And like those are other like things we've been really thinking about, like how do we do things that are out of our house? Like how do we do that? And I think you and I right now are working with people who are either entering this work of therapy land and like talking to a lot of amazing humans and clients who are really struggling with this. And then we're also watching the struggle of the providers.
Right.
Who are trying to figure out how they do this for themselves. And it's super challenging. And so, I mean, we know people. We should just, I mean, how do you, I don't even know.
The community sing and the dance party.
Well, yeah.
How do we do it? Yeah.
Because you and I aren't that into rules. So we're going to need to find some people who are into rules who can help us.
Yep.
Because we're not into rules. That's our strength.
That's not my favorite thing is rules. No.
We need some people who are into that. So rule people who want to help us, we need you.
But the thing is, like you were talking about the church, it's like it's organized around the religion, you know? So it's like you said, the generations keep coming. So I'm trying to think like how do we, it's just around, hey, community, this is gonna help you feel good. This is therapeutic. This is, I don't know, but I don't know if people would just come or we have to just start it and it would be so fun.
And I think there was some more momentum before the pandemic. I think about some things that existed that they were trying, like at least in our local community, there used to, I don't even know what it was called, but it was like, I think it was a farmer's market. It was a small farmer's market that was happening downtown in like Railroad Square, and it had a different vibe because it was in Railroad Square and there was music. They had people playing, and it didn't continue like after the pandemic. It didn't. And I think about like one place, because we marinate on like farmers markets, we got a lot of those in Sonoma County, and I'm like, how do we spice those bad boys up? I mean, because the food's already there.
Right. The people are there.
Food's there, local, right? Like local people are there with creativity, right? Food is another art form, right? And whether you're a farmer or whatever else, like that's already there.
Yep.
Generations are there, different generations, different communities. But there's no singing there's less singing and less dance parties.
Okay, well, if you know anybody who books performers at farmers markets.
These are the ideas I have at night.
Anybody
like,
out
how
there,
do I bring
please.
More joy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I think too, it's like, it's nice because the music there is like, ooh, it's so nice in the background while I'm, picking
that's
up my
not
vegetables.
your and I's intention.
But we want more like, what you're saying, what I'm thinking is like more, it's going to bring everybody, we're going to hang out, we're going to have dance party.
Yeah, we need to jam.
We're going to connect, we're going to jam.
We're going to jam.
They do in Sebastopol have a drum circle, but I don't know if that's
I mean, I'm down for whatever. I
Yeah.
just know that you and I need to make sure that we don't lose two of like our little selves who were down to do those things. And I think that right now in particular, if you are in adulting land, because I don't really know what age you need to be, but if you're having like all the adulting responsibilities, it's very hard to find time, money, and like I would say space, like wherever the space is, that isn't completely tied to alcohol or some other form, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like it there isn't a lot of spaces that are like that. And if you have a family, like where are you? Like where are you gonna
bring kids?
You want to bring kids, you know? And we need to do that. I think we just had a podcast about an idea. So we might need some more thought partners. My last question for you that I want to think about is when you are now in therapist land and creative land, I don't know how to describe it. They're like adjoining nations. What do you hope to do? Like, what do you want to do? Like, if you could, you know, kind of, do whatever. Okay, that's a fun question. Like, if you could do whatever you want, right? Like, what would it look like or feel like?
Okay, so the first thing that came was Mariah's helping people love themselves, right?
Okay, thank you, Momo. Thank you, Mariah. We have a new slogan. We're gonna help people love themselves.
But then the question is how? Well, I don't know. Like that whole story I shared about the way that I went through the process of being afraid to sing and then singing and then feeling like, oh my God, this is who I am. Whatever it is that other people's version of their thing that is my singing. Does that make sense? So I could see that in like dance or art or poetry or podcasting or I don't know, whatever creative
farming or whatever. Yeah, just anything.
Things like that. But I guess really, truly it would be, I would love to create some kind of like a theater, music, songwriting, healing arts program with like 3-month long group processes where we work with people and help them to develop whatever it is that they're gonna share in a show and then put a show together. Does that make sense? Yeah.
We need like a Keystone Festival.
It's a festival. Yeah, it's like a festival. We're songwriting. We're gonna put on our talent show. We've been talking about this idea.
Yeah, we've been talking about this at a talent show. Yep.
I think that would be really awesome.
Okay.
And like all voices. All voices.
Yeah. I mean, we have to be careful what we conjure because we got a lot of power going on over here. But I think that that's right, because I think too, like that part of the dreaming and like starting with something and seeing what happens is also something we've got to go back to. Like, not everything has to be completely figured out or perfected or like know exactly how everything's going to go before you just try it and
totally
put it out there in the community.
Yeah. No, I saw there's a group actually called the Broken Theater, and they're some families in Sebastopol, and what they're doing is they have kids that are like, I think between 7 and 17 going out into the community and interviewing like just different people that live there and then creating a theater piece based on the interview.
Whoa.
And so it was really cool because it was connecting generations. It was building community, and it was giving these kids like this really, there's like several shows that they've done now, these really awesome, you know, space to develop their own creative voice. So things like that, that's what I want to do.
Okay. I feel like
that's what I want to do.
We also have to figure out like what you're, I'm imagining you like as a host too of like what this performance is like. I'm envisioning the costume.
What does it look like?
It's definitely not going to make you small. It's going to be loud. Something that like, and color.
Rhinestones maybe.
Yeah. Like something. Because I think that's part of it too, is like people need to have space where they can share. And like to even say that word, like, what would you like to share?
Yeah, what do you want to share?
People are just going to be excited that you're sharing. Wow. Okay, well, I didn't deliberately mean to bring Momo into this talk, but
Yes.
I mean, this idea. Okay, maybe that's like the theme
it's
of
like
our
the theater of
themes of the
self-love.
show.
Theater,
Wow, okay.
self-love theater. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it definitely sounds like you've
Something.
been to the hanging out with deadheads, which I love. We need like a psychedelic
But we're not
sticker
self-centered.
too. No,
it's
no,
not that.
No, this is community.
It's community.
Broad community. Okay, well, I love talking to you.
I love talking to you
Okay,
as well.
okay, well, we'll have to.
And no F-bombs were dropped, I don't think.
No, not today. We can drop one now if you want, but that was fucking great.
That was fucking great. I loved it.
That's fine. I like it. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll have you come back again.
Okay,
right.
I would love that.
Bye. You've been listening to Key to the Bridge, a podcast brought to you by your friends at Keystone Therapy and Training Services. I'm your host, Erica Bosky. Key to the Bridge is recorded and produced by Jeff Henderson and Brian Henderson. This is a podcast for everyone.